part of the Mithraic belief is that he dies. He is slain, and then of course he rises again and ascends. Read it carefully. Then I saw another beast coming out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke like a dragon. He exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. The first beast is Rome. The second beast had horns like a lamb. In other words, was supposed to be like Jesus, but because many Christians were even then in denial about the origins, the pagan origins of their faith, and its lack of originality. But he spoke like a dragon, and dragons were already identified with Satan earlier on in Revelation. So in other words, it'd be like Jesus, but it wouldn't be like Jesus. It would be the opposite, because Jesus was all about not being forced to work for a living by an empire. He chose Mary over Martha. When he called his disciples, they immediately gave up their occupations to follow him. Consider the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. See? But Rome insisted you must work for them in order to earn the little coins that permitted you to buy or sell, or eat or trade. You see how it all works? The mark of the beast was working and thinking like the empire wanted you to.
You should be sitting down for this.
When Rome stole Jesus Christ and made him their own, they had taken in a deity whose fatal wound had been healed. They made the people worship Christ instead, but they still forced people to work to advance the empire, only now in Jesus' name. Jesus, as enforced by this empire, became his own Antichrist, and the beast of empire advanced under his name. So now the beast has a new face.
The assumption of this is that is always that I'm anti-progress or anti-technology. I'm exactly the opposite. I couldn't even begin to tell you how much. You see, I don't see what we're doing in this world as progress. You can come up with a technological innovation of some kind of, that was supposed to make your day easier, you have more time with your children and more time with your family, but since that means you're now able to do more work in less time, you're going to be expected to do more work in this, it doesn't help. How is that progress? We monitor how much work you should do by hours of work, as opposed to how much productivity. Did you make enough? No, and if you're sitting around, you should make even more, because expansion is all that's important. We have the ability to go to the moon. We have instant food. We have instant gratification. We got push buttons for everything, but no time at all to enjoy them, ever. That's not progress. Our lives are miserable. And the reason is that the only goal of this society is to grow. Must grow. Always must grow. And if there's a square inch of ground not producing crops or serving as land where stuff can be sold or cars can be driven or consumption of some kind of human use, then it's being wasted. This is getting ridiculous. We can't continue to grow like that. Everything is plowed over. Even our homes can't just be where we kick back, because now we have to keep them up to increase the property value and grow. Life based entirely for profit. Tell me that the society we live in isn't a beast.
But just try rebelling. Hippies attempted it, only to become a fashion that made profit for companies, and a movement whose actual purpose was totally forgotten. The concept of thinking outside of the box, of not living by the finely kept fashions, became the fashion, and then became the profit. Our rebellions are bought by the corporations and turned into just another commodity. And when everything becomes a monetary commodity, there is no escape from this prison, except for one: choosing to not live for that mark. A rebellion not made for profit. Choosing barter against currency could create an economy they can't control. People can take their power back. They outnumber the beasts in control. If they leave behind the so-called work ethic, if they leave behind working for the advancements of civilization, if they choose to live with the earth again instead of mindlessly supporting the constant onslaught of it, can we give up dominion? This has nothing to do with where you go after you die, which nobody knows and nobody ever will. This has everything to do with whether we turn this world into the heaven we've always wanted or continue making it the hell we fear most. We can't grow forever. Collapse is coming. We really don't have anything to lose because the future is already coming, and so is that horrible end. Imagine not living to work. Imagine not worrying about your belongings or worrying about every little penny. Sharing your art without worrying about profit. No lawsuits. No murdering over resources. Just imagine. It can happen if people change the way they think. Changing the marks on their heads. Change the way they work. The mark of their hands. Wouldn't that be a better thing to work for?